Hello, everyone. Just wanted to give a warm welcome to this edition of Dialogues on Mediumship, a program designed to explore and deepen the concepts of mediumship through the lens of Spiritism. My name is Marcia Trajano. I am talking from Tennessee in the US, and I'm representing the Solitude Center for Spiritual Living. And I am honored and thrilled to be here with all of you to discuss what I call a very enlightening journey. So, what is the Dialogues on Mediumship? Well, the goal of this program is to demystify misconceptions surrounding the topic and promote a clear, also easy to understand a way for everyone. We want you to see mediumship not as this enigmatic mystery, but as something that illuminated by the principle of spiritism, and it can be understood naturally with serenity. I was thinking, just as a second here, I was thinking of a 1999 movie, Stigmata, right? And this movie and this topic, they really intersect well. Why is it so difficult for us to understand mediumship outside of that phenomena, that mystery, that even horror movie? This is Hollywood, folks, that puts light into that. So we're trying to demystify everything today in a good conversation. But back to the program. This program is an initiative of the Study and Practice of Mediumship area, which is part of the International Spiritist Council. And we have the support of scholars, Spiritist workers, who, with seriousness and responsibility, the sort of commitment that is important, they dedicate themselves to the study and practice of mediumship. So today we have a very important topic, Spiritist Mediumistic meeting. What is it? What is its purpose? And together, let us reflect on what characterizes this type of meeting, the objectives of the meeting, right? What about spiritual assistance during those events and the aspects of perhaps education of mediumship? What do we need to do? What are the necessary, say, care required to properly conduct a spiritist mediumist meeting? So to begin our talk today, I want to say to feel free to send in your live questions, and we'll do our best to also address them. I have a number of questions to our STEAM roundtable participants, but we will do our best to get to yours as well. It is my great pleasure to introduce our special guest today, Andreia Marshall-Netto. She is the director of Conscious Living Spirit Group and of the Spiritist Federation of Florida. Alba Morales. She is a member and speaker from the Spiritist Society of Baltimore in Maryland. And Rafaela Calabria, the president of Allan Kardec Vancouver Society in Vancouver, Canada. So we have a very interesting mix of representatives of many different organizations, and I would be remiss if I wouldn't say girl power. We're all women today. But seriously, I want to say thank you, all of you who are here, and welcome. And we'll begin with a few minutes for each speaker who share their thoughts, their ideas, the reflections. And while you're watching, feel free, as I said before, to send your questions, your comments, and we'll start our Q&A sessions among ourselves. So let's go ahead and get started. And I want to say, first and foremost, right, when we just my thoughts to get us warmed up. When I talk about spiritist mediumship meetings, and as I said before, when people hear the word mediumship, most of us, many of us, immediately connect with extraordinary phenomena, supernatural experience, mysterious spiritual manifestation. But we're talking about spiritism. And as such, it's important for us to frame within this paradigm, spiritist paradigm, which invites us to look beyond the actual phenomenon. According to Allan Kardec, and I would like to call Rafaela to talk a little bit about it. But according to Allan Kardec, mediumship is a natural human faculty. It is present to a varying degree to most of us, but like intelligence, beauty, and all other specific abilities, the true value depends on the purpose of which it is used. So we today are going to talk. This is not about providing a technical class on mediumship. Today we are just giving a little bit of a high level introductory, welcoming, and really easy to understand conversation about this topic. And I invite all of you who, especially all of you who may have either little or no previous contact with Spiritism or with Spiritist mediumship meetings to hear more about it. Because I propose for our esteemed panelists to talk about what characterizes a Spiritist mediumship meeting. What is its purpose? Who participates? How is it organized? Why is it usually held within the Spiritist Center? And we're talking about brick and mortar, right? The actual building itself, and what distinguishes it from other forms of mediumship or mediumistic practice. So let's go ahead and get started. And I would love Rafaela to tell us a little bit. And my thoughts are coming here. Uh, Questions around, is mediumship primarily about producing spiritual phenomena? I'm just teasing you, Rafaela, right? Is it about spiritual phenomena or about transformation? Is it a gift or is it natural faculty? So tell us within those questions that I posed to you, what is a spiritist mediumship meeting? What its purpose?
Hello, everyone. Thank you for having me today. I'm so happy to participate. So let's talk about this. A Spiritist meeting, it's a private meeting. After, of course, you are doing the study class on the education of mediumship, dedicated to prayers, study, and charitable spiritual work. So it is conducted by training and experienced participants who seek to serve with humility, discipline, and respect for the teachings of Spiritism. Its primary purpose is to provide spiritual assistance. During these meetings, mediums may, under careful guidance, communicate with spirits who are suffering, confused, or in need of help. The goal is never curiosity, entertainment, or proving the existence of the spiritual world. Hatred is an action of charity, offering comfort, clarification, and encouragement to spirits while also promoting the moral and spiritual growth of everyone is involved. The meeting is based on the teaching of the principle of the Allan Kardec and emphasize pray, ethical conduct, discernment, and understand the mediumship is responsibility to experience with love, humility, and service to others. In essence, a Spiritist medium's meaning is an opportunity to practice charity beyond the physical world, contributing to the spiritual progress of both incarnate and discarnate beings. So,
Exactly.
to us, is it's very responsible to be able to participate. We need to be prepared to study, and we need to have in our heart, we are here, we are there, because we know all the mediumship meetings have the time and the day according before we start. So we need to be there, like prepared and with all the loves, and to understand we are there to help and to learning.
I love that. I Before I ask Alba, and Alba is putting her hand up. Alba, tell
Yeah.
us what are your thoughts.
No, no,
Go ahead.
thank you, Rafaela. But I would like to give a step backward, right?
Okay.
Because when we are all here, we are spiritists. We go to spiritist centers, we practice, we etc. So this is like a natural conversation for us, but we don't know who is in the audience right now or in the future. So the
Hmm.
one important thing to mention here is that our essence as a human beings is like we are spirits. We are spirits in a
Yes.
reincarnatory, meaning we are attached to this physical body, right? But then
Hmm.
we die, between quotations, and we go somewhere. This somewhere is the spiritual world, and the
Yeah.
spiritual world is populated by all kind and sort of spirits.
Yes.
Therefore, both the spiritual world and the material one in which we are currently living, we are in constant communication,
Yes.
right? And I
Yes.
think that this is just to clarify why we're talking about mediumship. What is this people talking about? Yes. And we communicate with our minds constantly, believe it or not. When you brush your teeth and you're thinking, you are communicating with the spirit, and it depends of our thoughts and vibrations. We connect with good, bad, evil, whatever, right? But
Yes.
then in the spirit centers, we have a organized uh,
Yes.
practice that is called the mediumistic meeting. I just wanted to give that little
That framework.
preface
Yeah.
for,
Yeah.
especially
Yeah.
for the audience, that they do know,
and
right?
and I would say, and I would put to anyone in the panel, right? Because it's important for us to understand, as Alba mentioned and Rafaela mentioned, mediumship is a natural human faculty.
Yes.
So with that in mind, all of us can have be a medium in so many words. But from a spiritist perspective, can we or somebody here explain between I do have, say, mediumistic abilities versus that person who is educated, recognizes those abilities, educate those abilities, and then develop them responsibly to be within the framework of a mediumist meeting itself and work with that. Can anybody speak to that?
I'll jump in. Hi, everybody. If you hear a lot of noise, it's raining a lot and there's thunder here. So, typical Florida summer rain.
Yes, yes.
Thank you to the International Spiritist Council for having me in this amazing program. It's really, really important. And to be able to listen to Alba and, Rafaela is a gift, because we start really listening from different points of views, but all of them meeting. Because one of the things that I was thinking while Rafaela was doing her comments, and Alba as well, is to remember that Allan Kardec, because Allan Kardec was mentioned, he had a method in studying the human paranormality, right? People think that it's a paranormality. And also, when people at the Spiritist Center know that you are at a mediumistic meeting, they start looking at you differently, right? And one of the things in the Medium's book, specifically chapter, I don't know, thank you, 14, my husband, is that, anybody, like you said, who senses the influence of spirits to a certain degree is a medium, right? And one of the things that he makes it very clear is that the physical expression, is it's not a privilege, it's a faculty of the spirit. And the way that it is used really does depend on the ethical values. This is Allan Kardec stating that one possesses it, right? And so he goes on to say that since it's an instrument that promotes progress, and this is where Spiritism gets in and understanding, demonstrating the immortality, and also how it contributes to human happiness, to the aspect of consolation, it does entail serious prerequisites, right? One of the things that we do learn about this, but it is a blessing. He talks about the importance of having knowledge of the objective of a mediumship so that we can equip ourselves better in order to fulfill this commitment, which is made. Alba talked about the spirit plane way before we incarnate. This is actually talked about in the book The Messengers by André Luiz and Chico Xavier, this commitment that we make. And so as far as Spiritists, presence is concerned, the conduct is concerned, we are bearers if we are working with it. And even if we don't know that we have this blessed instrumentality, it is used for self-enlightenment, for promoting the progress of humanity. And one of the things that I remember, in the books that we launched is a conversation that Divaldo Franco, the renowned medium that discarnated, last year, we miss him so much. He had an interview in which, in a Spiritist Society Union, if I'm not mistaken, in Minas Gerais or São Paulo, sorry, I don't remember. But he said that a lot of people think that because you are in a mediumistic meeting and you are helping people and you're helping spirits, you think that you are being charitable, right? That you are doing charity. And Divaldo explained that this thinking is actually incorrect, because the meetings, the Spiritist meetings, are where one of us learn about, justifying the concept. He explains the suffering spirits assume this relationship. We are helping them. We are actually learning from them. And they're basically stating in every communication, which we call the spirit rescue meeting, look at what happened to me. So you'd better change your behavior or the same thing might happen to you. So
Andrea, can you speak a little bit? There's several covers, and this is a very special time for all of us. Go ahead, Andrea, please.
Yeah, I mean, there's two books that were released that are very important for the mediumship mandate, right? People that want to learn about it, that want to participate in the meetings to understand what is required in the quality of the practice of mediumship, right? And a lot of people in the Spiritist Center might say, well, I want to participate. I want to know what it is. And you're like, hold yourself. Let's study about the mixed meetings, how the groups are formed, how the people are chosen, the two teams that work together, and how the planning really comes from above and not us, since we are instruments, right? And so the other book talks about the practice in itself and the type of discipline that a medium needs to have in order to be able to receive wholesome communication that does help, that does allow the benefactors to give us messages, or the suffering spirits to utilize this vessel, which is a blessing, right? It is a
Yes.
blessing. And I remember one time in a very, very specific mediumship experience that I had, and Josara was in the place, people were in the place, and I asked Divaldo, I said, why did they choose me? I mean, I'm not an acting medium at the mediumistic meeting. I dialogue with them. And he said, because you have merit. And I'm like, wow, how amazing. You've grown to the point where you have merit. And here I'm thinking, wow, I never looked at mediumship that way until that day. So it's merit. It's a merit to be able to work, but it's also a very deep responsibility.
A commitment. So
Yeah.
let's pivot to Alba, because you
Yes.
start talking about the mediumistic meeting specific. I'd love you could spend maybe 5 minutes, Alba, just telling the logistics, what we do, how much time, how many people, how big is that? Can you just go deep into the logistics of that meeting, if you don't mind?
Mhm. Like basically what happened when we close the door of the mediumistic room, what is going on there. Yes, I would like to address first a little something also, since Andrea was mentioning, and all of you, about we are all mediums and we communicate with the spirits. However, in Spiritism, we make a difference with ostensible mediums, meaning the people that can see spirits or can hear spirits or can write, which is psycho-writing, psychophonic, is all in the medium's book. So these individuals are part of the mediumistic meeting. So to have a mediumistic meeting, there are several prerequisites, as Andrea mentioned before. One of them, and due to Marcia, is the location. So we are not going to do mediumistic meetings at home or at the public library or places that are public. We
Virtual
need to do it in a
mediumship.
specific place.
Say that again, Andrea.
I just said virtual mediumship.
No, I'm going there.
Yeah.
Yes, good. So let's just pause,
I'm
right?
going there, Andrea.
So the first topic is, and I love the interaction, please don't stop, right? But the first thing is, and important, because there's before, right? Andrea even mentioned a really great book, The Messengers, where we talk about before we even are born, the commitment is made. So we're not going to talk about this now. That's not my question to Alba. She mentioned once the door is closed, which is a reference to it is a private meeting and the door is closed and it's not open to the public, which before we can say the door is closed, where is the door, right? It needs to be a brick and mortar location, not virtual. But let's go ahead, Alba. Tell us. I'm excited to hear about it.
Yes. It's not virtual because it's not safe. And we're going to consider we need to dedicate a room. It could be simple room, small, big, whatever, but just a room that is only dedicated to the mediumistic work. Because it's like working in a hospital and doing a surgery, performing open heart surgery. Are you going to do it in your dining room? Are you going to do it in the main room in the Spiritist Center? No. And it's as delicate as I'm saying. This is not to scare people. It's just to show that it's something serious. So we have a location, right? That's the first. And we pray in that location. And the good spirits, they are part of the mediumistic team. And they are the ones that are the true directors of the mediumistic meeting. They create something that is called the psychosphere, that is clean. And also with our own thoughts, we help to maintain this vibration. Also, all the participants, we already mentioned, we need to study. We need to study Spiritism, and we need to study how are the dynamics of the mediumship, or what are we doing? It's like, are you going to have an open heart surgery and we are going to call, I don't know, someone that is selling cell phones? No, this person can have a good intention, but definitely no. So sorry for the examples, but I like to see the comparisons, right? So we need to study. We need to have all of us, everybody participating in the meeting. We need to have, we like doing our bets in our day-to-day life to have an upright moral behavior. It's not only for the hour that we're going to be there that we become saints and then we do la 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 things. No, we need to observe our behavior, our inner transformation, our choices in life, everything, every day. It's not just for an hour or so. Also, the group, they need to stipulate some regulations because
Yeah,
this is
let's
seriousness here.
yeah,
Yes,
let's
Andrea.
listen to Andrea. And because I was I think you and I are connected, because I was going to ask you, how can it be conducted, that meeting, safely but also harmoniously? But go ahead, Andrea, please.
No, I just wanted to touch base on what Alba said about mediumship, right? We talk about that everyone is a medium because if we sense the spirit, and often we are guided by them to the point where they actually direct our thoughts. And Allan Kardec, he talked about this in the Medium's book, that although we're talking about mediumship, he wanted to talk about this aspect of having the influence, because in question 461, right? Kardec is going to talk about how people are mediums without even knowing it, imperceptibly, unconsciously. But the medium is not a medium only at the mediumistic meeting, right?
Yes.
And this is where Allan Kardec recommends the attainment of the moral values. There is no privilege in being a medium, but the moral values, the growth as a spiritist, is going to offer a barrier, a magnetic barrier, if you will, that these negative influences from low order spirits that are all around us, the spirits of men who discarnated, they can't have an influence on us. To the contrary, we are going to do good deeds, often being led by them. And Andreia Lewis, I'm going to finish. Andreia Lewis, he talks about in the book Sex and Destiny. This is a very good book. He talks about the fact that there was a very dramatic thing that was going to take place. And he was looking for somebody, anybody who would be in tune with the spirits, the good spirits, so that he could influence them and help avoid the situation. And he called us spiritual antennas. None were connected to the spiritual high order Wi-Fi. So that's my thoughts.
I what comes to my mind is a medium, and this is my own personal visual, Alba, is we're just a microphone, right? So for us to be a microphone, it needs to be plugged in, right? There is some power or some Wi-Fi connection for us to be able to provide the message from whomever to whomever is the audience. So the better the microphone, the better is the message. But you were saying something really, really important, right? And I would just reframe my own question in terms of how can you we have a meeting that is safe and harmonious? But I would go back to the opposite of the question, which is it enough to just gather a bunch of mediums? Yes, everybody here is a medium. Let's go ahead and meet. Or what is it required? And I think Rafaela was already talking about it, right? What type of training, what type of even a sense of a team? And by that, I'm using a corporate language, right? But the group of people with the same commitments, how do we plan? Alba, take it away, please.
Yes, that was my next. It's actually have my notes, and it's in my notes. You're reading my notes. So
good.
The next prerequisite, it has to be with the harmony and with the intention. What is the intention of all the participants in that team, in that group? Because if we are going there for selfish situations, I want to invoke the spirits and so on. So no, you're not qualified to be there. I am there just to have fun, to see phenomena. No, I'm sorry. No, you won't qualify there. Our intention needs to be aligned with Christ-like goals or objectives. Meaning, the mediumistic meeting is to do good and to serve others that are suffering. And there are different levels of suffering. Again, go to the Spirit's book.
Yeah.
So it is to serve, actually. And we, the incarnate team, we talk about the spiritual team, the true directors, that they have a specific roles there. They are the ones who coordinate, who direct, and who say, we are bringing this type of suffering spirits today. We are bringing this type of obsessors today. We are bringing, they are and only 2 communications per medium, no more than that. All these rules and regulations and all these logistics are from the beyond, and we are vessels of that. And all of us, incarnate and discarnate, we are serving the same goal, that is to do good and to be like Jesus, extending a hand to those who are lost and confused and need help. And then it comes, who are the incarnate people there? We have several people, because there are some Spiritist centers that only have 2 people that can participate in a Spiritist meeting, that's okay. It's a minimum of 2. So we have a director or a coordinator of the meeting, right, that opens up the meeting, gives the directions. Now we're going to do this, we're going to pray, etc. There is we can call it the fraternal counselors, or the ones who are going to have this heart-to-heart conversation, and everything is with love. When we are there, we are vibrating in love. Therefore, it's not a moment to reasoning, it's a moment to embrace in vibrations of love. So this person is going to be inspired by the spiritual counselors to say the suffering spirit, this, and that. We have the ostensible mediums, and it could be psychophonic medium, just communicating through words. It could be a psychograph medium, and they both can work at the same time. One is writing, the other one's communicating. It depends on the number of people in the team, right? And then we have a very important part of the team, which are the tech support. Let us put it that way. Basically, they don't they don't talk, or it seems like they're not doing much, but they are vibrating. They are supporting and sustaining this energy of light, this energy of love. And also, when the ostensible mediums finish his or her communication, this other person needs to disperse the energies that the medium was connected with the spirit that is suffering, just to make sure that this is like a antiseptic measure. Remember the open heart surgery? Before surgery, we have antiseptic situations. That is the prayer, that is the moral behavior through the week.
I love it, yes.
And during the mediumistic meeting as well, right? When they finish the surgery, they need to get rid of all the garments to not contaminate themselves with these residues. So that's basically it. So the question is, so how many people can be in a mediumistic meeting? Well, probably 10, 14 max, because we need to love each other, and we are human beings, ladies, and things happen, and rumors happen, and behaviors, and you'd say this and that, or, jealousy. So we truly need to be there, loving one another as brothers and sisters, and also to have some control and coordination. If you have more people than that, you can create 2 different mediumistic meetings at 2 different days. And since I mentioned a minimum of 2, you need an ostensible medium, and someone that is the director, the fraternal counselor, the supporter of the energy, and that's it pretty much.
I call the dialoguer, right? The person that dialogues with the spirit. Yeah.
Okay.
So,
thank
all right.
you. I wanted to use that word, but I wasn't sure.
Rafaela wants to say something, and
Yes.
I want to also, before I turn to you, Andreia, I have a a question to the team. But go ahead, Rafaela.
I think it's important to mention, we don't need to invocate spirits there.
Yes,
Like,
good
it's
point.
very important, because sometimes people want to participate in a mediumship meeting to like invocate their parents or their loved ones who pass away. So this is not the proposal.
Yeah. And folks, there's so many questions that we can ask. We just don't have enough time to answer to the minute details of a Spiritist Mediumistic meeting. Those books that you saw earlier can bring you a lot of those, the why is Rafaela saying that? Why is Alba saying that? But I wanted to hear more from Andreia on the third topic, which is what is not Spiritist. But before I go there, just park it there, Andreia. I wanted to ask, because Alba started with once we close the door. And I wanted to ask the before the door is open and perhaps after the door is open again, right? So the idea here, and I'd love to hear anyone's thoughts here on when does the mediumship meeting itself begin, right? Is it 1 hour early? Is it 24 hours early? Is it the whole week? What is it? And how let's pretend, me as a medium, what can I do to make sure I am ready to be with my commitment to be part of that meeting? Anyone here would like to talk? And I thought about you, Andreia, but anyone in the panel could talk about it.
Well, if I may, I want to go back to what Rafaela,
Let me quickly finish about the structure. Oh, Andres, are you talking?
Yeah, she was.
Go ahead.
Go ahead, Alba,
Sorry.
please. Yeah.
It's my internet. My internet is coming in and out, so I
sorry to
know.
hear that.
Just to conclude, the mediumistic, the mediumistic meeting itself starts the day before. When we are actually we are
sometimes
preparing.
even a week.
Yes.
Sometimes we are preparing. Yeah. We are preparing, we're feeling, we do the intelligent sleep, we connect with the mentors. When we are there, also we have a prayer, we have a enlightening reading, and then we have the dialogue between the spirits, between the counselors assisting. We conclude with a prayer. An important part is the evaluation. We evaluate, we call it evaluation. I know some places call it differently, but we will evaluate what happened, the type of communication. Is this a writing one? Is this something that we want, something that is for the public, or to whom is this communication? And also how we feel, the perceptions, what we saw, etc. We don't leave that room until everybody share, until everybody's also feeling okay. Because sometimes, just to finish, sometimes a spirit comes feeling sick or ill, and the ostensible medium is feeling the pains and aches of the spirit. It's not your body, it's the mind of the spirit, but you are feeling in your body. So sometimes you just need to do some passes and a prayer to come back to balance. Okay, now Andreia, I don't want to monopolize the conversation.
Go ahead, Andreia.
I remember when I started studying, right, to participate in the Mediumistic meeting. So the Spiritist Center that I grew up in since 1991, I was about to turn 14. Only later did I join the meeting. So we had a meeting for the group that was initiating, that was training, and then we had the group that was already formed, and it was really like game on. So you really needed to be right. And I remember that one day I was sitting there, and the person who was responsible for the meeting, because we have a director, we have this director who's coordinating, he's kind of like the maestro for the orchestra, right? And he brought in some infrared cameras. And I looked at it and I said, what are these for? And they said, well, we want to record the manifestation. And I questioned it because that was not the purpose of the meeting. That was not the
Correct.
purpose. And so when I told the person who was responsible for the mediumistic area at the Spiritist Center, who oversaw the activities, I told her, and you know what she said? She said, this is a spirit rescue meeting, and all of you guys need to go back to the gospel. We are not here for entertainment. We are here to serve. We are here to help those that are in need of us, and we are in need of them. So she basically cut all of the practice, and we went back to the gospel according to Spiritism and the Medium's book, because we forget about that. We forget about the aspect of the assistance and why we are there. And one of the things that I also want to talk about, Alba, I'm sorry, I need to say it because I've seen it. I went to the Mission of the Way, I went to the Brazilian Spiritist Federation, and the rules that you brought don't apply generically. It's not a generic rule. Some centers do have one communication only. Some centers have 3 communication at the same time. So I just wanted to bring this so it doesn't seem like we are mandating what it is. The thing is discipline at all times. And when the group forms, it establishes what it's going to be so that there is no surprise, you know. But I wanted to talk about the influence and how we already start helping spirits sometimes even during sleep. And I'm going to narrate, okay? I was adopted, and I was starting in this meeting where I was practicing, and the medium, she was really good. She said, there is a spirit here who presents himself as like somebody who lives in, you know, in the streets, and he's really dirty, and he's crying. And he said that he will only communicate if Andreia dialogues with him. And I was like, oh my God, right? I mean, automatically when you're starting, you're like, holy cow. And so I sat there and I felt an involvement because it was so filled with care and solidarity and tenderness. And I started dialoguing. And you know what he said? I said, we are here to help. The benefactors are here to help. And he said, you've offered help so many times before and I declined. Why do you want to help me now? And it was interesting that, you know, how the conversation took place. It was one of the most beautiful things. And at the end, I felt like it was my father. And at the end of the meeting, the director said, Andreia, who do you think that spirit was? And I said, I think it was my father. And he said, yeah, but your father was at the party for the center last week. How do you explain that? I said, well, that was my adopted father. I'm talking about my biological father. Yeah. And so I found out that he had discarnated from liver cirrhosis. How do you say that? Yeah. From drinking, he became an alcoholic, you know, with so many suffering and things that led him to that point. And the beauty of it is that the benefactors, they don't care. When you're ready, when the spirit is ready. So just to say what Alba was talking about, I have to say her name, Maria Emilia, you know, with whom I grew up with, the Spiritist Center. And I said, why did he say that? She said, because during sleep, you probably went to him a few times and he declined. Yes. So respect the spirits. They don't push us. They're not aggressive. They don't hurt our free will. And when they're ready, the rescue happens. And that's the beautiful thing of it. And all I wanted to say is that when we are dialoguing with the spirit, the lesson that we have in talking about patience and forgiveness, and, you know, you're not, you know, you are a benevolent, you are good, and you are a divine essence. We need to practice that with incarnate spirits in our lives.
Yes.
So I just wanted to bring that because we forget that, you know, and all of the lessons that we have are spirits that we have a need to learn from. So this is really cool.
Yeah, I love it. Thank you. Thank you for telling us about this very personal and very impactful communication as a medium. And I just wanted to wrap it up for everyone here that what we discussed as we provided guidelines, right? We surfaced, I just want to highlight here again that according to Spiritist guidelines, mediumship meetings are prepared in advance by whom? By whom? But the spiritual benefactors, exactly. So when we understand that, we also need to understand that those are guidelines that are not something rigid or mechanical, right? And I think that's what Andrea was mentioning. There are many books that will provide those guidelines, and those are for ensuring that we are best prepared to serve and to actually be served, right? I think we get more than we give. But one of the things that I wanted to bring here, again, because we explored, I'm looking at you, Andrea, we explored the purpose, the organization of Spiritist mediumship meetings, and I come here because this is one of the most frequently asked questions, especially from either people that were not born in Brazil, where spirit has been so prevalent and so well accepted, right? So either you are born in another country, or you have never been to a spiritist center or read anything from spiritism. Can you tell us, Andrea, if you may, how do those other religions or spiritual traditions work with mediumship from what you know?
Mhm.
And because we know communication, right? Historically, it's been evidence that has existed throughout human history. But what makes perhaps a mediumship meeting spiritist or not spiritist? Do you see? Can you tell us what are the differences, perhaps?
Yeah, we just finished studying a book called Insanity and Obsession. It's not yet translated, but it will be by the spirit author Manuel Filomeno de Miranda, who, by the way, the two books that were released are from the project Manuel Filomeno de Miranda, where they gathered all this information. They talked about their own experiences in anything. You know, when you get the book, you'll get it. So get the book. It's available. But one of the things is an assistance that happens in the book involving other type of mediumistic meeting, Afro-descendant, Afro-Brazilian traditions, where people in Brazil call spiritism, but it's really different. But one of the things that he discovered had to do with the spiritual assistance and charity that is not included only in spiritism. And this is where our respect needs to be talked about, because they center this situation of help in the spirit plane with the incarnates, with a benevolent spirit called Emerenciana. I always question these really odd names that they choose in the books. You know, maybe it's for us not to find out who it's about. And he observes the sincere workers in the spirit plane, assisting the troubled incarnate and discarnate. And he notices how God's love and Christian charity operate in different types of religious environments, right? And that sometimes a group is judged, but not by the good that they're accomplishing, but rather our own ignorance in relation to what is happening. So he sees common goods. He identifies the beliefs in immortality, the interpretation. He connects Afro-Brazilian traditions with spiritism. So the belief in a supreme being, God, the first cause of all things, the soul survival after death, the communication, the reincarnation, the mediumship or incorporation, if you will, and the moral and the material charity. And he starts discussing about the supreme God in Candomblé, right, which is Olorum, and associates Oxalá with the highest Orisha, you know, the names, if you know, you know. But he talks about how with the other Umbanda, there is this Christian interpretation that came about from a long time ago in Brazil when the slaves were there. And so this concept of Catholicism that was brought in there, right? Regardless, they do have how different, right? They have drumming, they have clapping, they have candles, they have incense, they have flowers, white clothing, necklaces, you know, everything that has to do with the African languages. Sometimes they have incorporation in the language that is, you know, in accordance with how they still see themselves, so attached to material matter that they think this fluidic thing that is happening, they do receive this fluidic medicine in the spirit plane to be able to awaken and realize that they're no longer in that situation. So what he talks about is this underlying idea that different traditions may use different cultural forms while carrying out activities that is similar mediumistic work. One of the things that we need to remember, for example, in the book Planetary Transition, with the tsunami that took place, we have to remember that the benevolent spirits, how they show themselves for the spirits to be able to say, wow, Catholic, this is, I'm being saved, I'm being assisted, or in any other type of form or in investments, because the spirits love us and they'll try to make the transition as easy as possible. So we spiritists cannot think that we have all of it, because as a matter of fact, mediumship does not belong to spiritism. It's as old as we know. As a matter of fact, the first tablet that happened was with Moses. The first tablet, you get it? If you get it, you get it. So, it's really interesting, because the book distinguishes the uncontrolled incorporation, right, from the educated medium. So he talks about these different things, right? An abrupt or violent type of trance, when in spiritism, even if it's an obsessor, even if it's somebody who committed suicide, the medium is actually restrained. And I just wanted to touch base. I know we're running out of time, but forgetting about it, we need to talk about animism and study and not judge when this happens in the mediumistic team, because every medium, including Chico Xavier, who was the medium of the century, he would say that even he had animism, right? A little bit of our own content that comes out, and that is okay, because we are also getting assisted, if it's something that is troubling us from the past. So
absolutely,
absolutely.
No, this is good. So we talked in those three areas that I wanted to touch base today. I think we did all of them. This is not a lecture or a class. There are many different books available. Andreia just rattled a number of them. So maybe, Andreia, you can put in the comments all of those that are available, perhaps, or somebody else can put, where can you buy them if you're interested? But I just wanted to bring back the highlights, if you will, where there are many non-spiritist traditions, right? And in the U.S., I'm made aware of Barbara Brennan's work, right? Outside of the U.S., in maybe native population, shamanic traditions. Andreia was very specific with the African-based religions. That's something that is very strong in Brazil specifically, but there are many spiritual movements. And Spiritism, and that's why we're here to talk about this Spiritist Mediumistic meeting. It has its own perspective. Rafaela, Alba, and Andreia mentioned to you what they are, how they work, and when do we start the meeting itself. But I would say for all of us, and I think Andreia actually mentioned that with her own story, right? It is that if I were to talk about the defining characteristic of a spiritist mediumship expression, it's not a phenomenon itself, but it is the integration of the gospel. You mentioned that, right, Andreia? The spiritist doctrine itself. There is a lot of reference today here to Allan Kardec and codification of spiritism, but most importantly, the desire to serve, which Alba specifically talked about, the idea and the feeling of love, which is charity in action, right? So charity, serving, loving. But I wanted to maybe, because it is time, we have a few more minutes, is to ask all of you to give your final words, your final considerations, and then we wrap it up. Can we do that? I'm going to start alphabetically. So, Andreia, you start first because you're A. Oh, I'm sorry. You're not A.
Alba.
Alba is AL. So, my apologies. Alba, in 1 minute, more or less, can you give us your final thoughts? My apologies, Andreia.
It's okay.
That's okay. That's okay. My message is for you that are listening to this presentation and you are not participating in a Spiritist Center and you think you are an ostensible medium, please Go to the U.S. Spiritist Federation. There is a list of Spiritist centers across the United States. What if you are in a state in which there is not a Spiritist center? How are you going to study? There are some online studies, but the main point for an ostensible medium is to do charity, where we go out and serve others. So it's an invitation.
Beautifully said. Thank you, Alba. Andrea, back to you.
Just let's be kind with some of the misconceptions that happens in relation to spiritism. Today we have a lot of shows that talks about medium that have a bit of spiritual influence as well, like we see the others, and we see the other amazing movies that are out there. But as far as mediumistic education is concerned, be kind with yourself, be patient, and remember that mediumship also progresses as we progress and evolve. And the better equipped we are, the more the medium will grow, because the benefactors will trust us. And also trust in yourself, believe in yourself, and allow the Spiritist Center to guide you, because every solid Spiritist Center have all the technical things, the tools to assist you. So don't be afraid, dive in with responsibility and charity, like Alba said.
Absolutely. Thank you, Andrea. And I see in the comments that we have put in spiritist.us, which is the website for resources we mentioned. Andrea, would you be so kind to put maybe the website for Leal Publisher, as well as your federation, as well as you, Alba? You can just add there. Thank you. And Rafaela, do the same. If you give, once you give your final thoughts, if you can put the contact information for Canada.
Sure, I do. I think we need to remember, if we see we have ostensive mediumship, I think we need to study to understand the responsibility to work with them, and not only for them, for the spirits, but for us and for the group. We need to understand it's not because, I think I have ostensive mediumship, so I want to work now. It's not like that. We need to be prepared. We need to be patient, like everyone said before. So, and then we can go from there.
I love it.
It's very important.
Thank you. Thank you, the three of you. Thank you, all of you who are here with us today. I just want to say that throughout today's discussion, I'm so glad to be here as your host. But I can see that one main idea has emerged quite clearly to all of us, which is, if we only focus on phenomenon, we're missing so much, right? We really are not pursuing the goals of a mediumship, if you will, meeting, and which is what, right? Just the back to the back, right? In the beginning, which is the microphone, right? We're here to facilitate a communication as a medium between one and the other. But as we study, and Rafaela just mentioned that as her final remarks, when we study Allan Kardec, when we embrace ourselves in the Spiritist literature, and I appreciate, Andrea, if you remember the books that you reference and you put it there, I think it would be great. But when we reference, when we study, when we become well-rounded in this topic, we discover so much, right? So to answer the question while we're here, what is a Spiritist mediumship meeting? It is a school, right? It is a school to help us understand service, discipline, humility, compassion. It is also a school that is quite interesting because it's a school to teach us and help us with our own individual spiritual growth. So while assisting those suffering spirits, we are profoundly touched and educated as well. So as Andreia, I think, mentioned that mediumship is not a privilege, it's not a spectacle, it's not about power. It is actually commitment, responsibility, and what an opportunity, everyone, to embark in our own inner transformation. So let us all embark in here with this invitation to love, to serve, to help ourselves. And I want to say thank you, everyone, for being here. Thank you, Rafaela, Alba, Andreia, for sharing your knowledge, your deep knowledge about the topic and your experience as well. Thank you, everyone who joined us, and may this conversation be just the beginning, perhaps, of your lifelong journey of study, service, and spiritual growth. Thank you, everyone. So
Thank you,
long.
guys. Bye bye.
Thank you. Bye.